presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox. We are Ohio.
The March toward the postseason was led by Corey Kluber last night, who notched his 18th win of the season. With Carlos Carrasco and Danny Salazar sidelined, rookie Mike Clevinger now has a golden opportunity to be a huge factor for the Tribe come October. The Indians look to make it 9 out of 10 against the defending champs here at home. And we have all the September drama and emotion next on Sports Time Ohio. The push for the playoffs continues tonight here at Progressive Field in downtown Cleveland, where the Indians control their own fate. Their magic number down to 5, holding steady as the Tigers won the first game of their doubleheader earlier against the Minnesota Twins. Hi again, everyone. Matt Underwood alongside Rick Manning here at Progressive Field. The Tribe has a chance to sweep the Kansas City Royals thanks to more drama, more heroics from Jose Ramirez. You'll wonder, where in the world would this team be without him?
You know, if you've watched the Indians play all year, you know one thing. Jose Ramirez has done everything well this year. He's played left field starting out the year. He's played third base. He's hit with runners in scoring position very well in the top 10. He's played great defense. He steals bases. He's tough to strike out. There's not a thing you can talk about when you talk about Ramirez that he hasn't done well this year. 7th in average, 2nd in doubles, 4th on the team in RBIs. In his last 50 games, he started at third base with a .352 average. Oh, and by the way, his defense has been outstanding.
He's only the 5th Indians player ever to have 10 homers, 40 doubles, 20 steals in a season. Mike Clevinger will start tonight for Cleveland on the mound. Where there is injury, there is opportunity. And right now, Mike Clevinger is trying to hold on to that opportunity and make his case to be on this rotation in come postseason.
Well, as it looks right now, he will be number 4. He's making his 9th start this year. In his last 2 starts, he's been very good. But he's got to find a way. He's been able to get ahead of the guys, but he's got to try and find a way, not let them foul balls off, try to put them away. But he's been very good for the Indians, and they're just going to continue to stretch him out because we know he can pitch out of the bullpen. Now they're going to try and make him a starter.
Trying to build off 2 very good starts for Clevinger his last couple of times out. We'll be back with tonight's play-by-play coming up next here on Sports Time Ohio. Cleveland Indians baseball is brought to you by WB Mason, the official office supplier of the Cleveland Indians. By McDonald's, I'm loving it. And by your local Toyota dealers, visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Ohio studio here in downtown Cleveland. I'm Ashley Collins. Indians' magic number down to 5. No help earlier today, though, from the Tigers, who were in action in Minnesota after being rained out last night, game 1 of their doubleheader. The Tigers with a big 9th inning as they scored 6. Part of that, Victor Martinez, a 3-run blast. Martinez was pinch hitting. That gives him 25 homers on the season, and Detroit goes on to win that one 9-2. Game 2 of their doubleheader tonight starts in about an hour. Justin Verlander will be on the mound for the Tigers, so we'll keep you updated on that, as well as the Red Sox, who are in action. Now we'll send it back out to Matt and Rick at Progressive Field.
All right, thank you very much, Ashley. Indians getting ready to take the field tonight, looking for a 3-game sweep. You're looking at Rajai Davis, Coco Crisp. They'll be in the outfield tonight along with Brandon Guyer. And you think about the Indians outfield, it's almost like, as we get downstairs to Andre Knott, sort of like a receiving corps in football. They shuffle in, they shuffle out. You never know who's on the field at any one time, but they're making it work.
It's working like no other outfield in baseball, Matt. And I like the correlation that you use with football. But I'll look at it this way. You look at the Detroit Tigers, look at the Royals, you look at most of the teams that are preparing to go in the postseason, and you pretty much know day in and day out who's going to be in left field, who's going to be in center, who's going to be in right. Here with the Cleveland Indians, Terry Francona has done a masterful job of placing the right guy in the outfield at the right time. And it's something the guys truly believe in as they're played when they're called upon.
You know, I joke around with Guyer, you know, we're a switch-hitting outfielder. You know, he takes care of the lefties, I take care of the righties. And, you know, I talk about it a lot where Tito puts us in the situations to succeed. And, you know, I think that, you know, speaks a lot. You know, Naquin went on a great run, rookie of the year candidate. And, you know, I think that's a big part of it.
It's definitely beneficial when the manager understands the players, and the players can, you know, trust, you know, that the manager's making the right decisions and putting the right guys in and putting you in the best position to be successful. I think we do a great job here at putting our players in the best position to be successful.
He lets us, you know, govern ourselves, and he does a good job with, you know, understanding, you know, guys' bodies and, you know, when they're playing and things like that. You know, Raj out there, he's like an 18-year-old. He's still got it. But, you know, he you know, for blowing somebody out or something, you know, he's coming out. Or, you know, I'm going in, you know, Nake's going in, things like that. So the rotation's good, you know, keeping us off our feet and things like that. And, you know, it definitely helps keep us fresh.
Arch, 2-part question. One,
sure,
were you ever part of an outfield that had this kind of rotation to it? And B, is it good, bad, indifferent? Obviously, they're making it work, but what could a disadvantage be?
You know what? If you don't get production when you're making the right moves, it cannot work out any better. I think the first time platoon started back in 1983 was with Earl Weaver, and he had his Baltimore Orioles, and he had veterans. They won the World Series that year, so everybody else wanted to do it. But I'll tell you what, it's not an easy thing to do, and I'm surprised it's working as well as it is here, because you have some young players that you're working in and out. Tito's done a great job.
Indians take the field behind Mike Clevenger. And the rookie will make his 9th start of the year. This will be the lineup he'll face for Ned Yost and the defending world champion Royals, brought to you by Spitzer Automotive. Gerard Dyson will lead it off with Merrifield second. Eric Hosmer has been held to 1 hit in the series, batting 3rd. Kendrys Morales, Sal Perez, and Alex Gordon occupy the middle. Alcides Escobar, Paulo Orlando back in right field, starting tonight, hitting 8th, and Chesler Cuthbert will bat 9th.
And we'll take a look at our Northern Ohio Honda starting pitcher for the Tribe. Mike Clevenger gets the start. It'll be start number 9 for him. He's 2-2 on the year. Both his wins have come at home in this ballpark. But, you know, for Mike, his last 2 starts, he's been very good. He hasn't gone deep into the game, but he has pitched 8 innings. And it's something that he's got to do. Only giving up 5 hits. He's getting better and better every time out, and I think there's something more he learns about. He's got to try and control his pitches, command some of his off-speed pitches. If he does that, I think he's going to be just fine, because this is an aggressive Kansas City team, so he has to make some good quality first pitches. Let's set the defense behind him tonight. It looks like this. It'll be in the outfield from left to right. It'll be Crisp, Davis, and Guyer in the outfield. Ramirez, Lindor, Kipnis, Santana on the infield, and Perez behind the plate. Defense brought to you by Jeep.
Paul Emmel, the crew chief, has the plate tonight. Scott Berry, Carlos Torres, and Sam Holbrook are on the bases. Last night, Terry Francona's club beat Kansas City 4-3. It was the 6th time this year the Indians and Royals have been involved in a game that was decided by 1 run.
Yeah. They play close ball games.
Indians have obviously had the better of it overall in the series. They've won 10 out of 15, 8 of 9 here at home. And that kind of goes along with what the Indians have done for most of the season. They are a 51-26 here at Progressive Field now on the year. Gerard Dyson climbs in. We're ready to go. And Mike Clevenger's fastball is over for a strike. 78 degrees at game time. Partly cloudy skies, but otherwise a beautiful evening once again. A little low, 1-1. Dyson 1 for 6 in the series. Once again, really no breeze to speak of. It has just been really good on this homestand weather-wise. 2 balls and a strike as he misses outside with a fastball. Ran it in on him, bounces it foul. Dyson overall 262 average. His game is speed if he can get on. He has 28 steals. Right back to Clevenger. 1 away.
Well, he started the game yesterday with a base hit right back up the middle. This one bounces and Clevenger right there. Right at glove height, able to snag it, make the easy throw. Out number 1.
That will bring up Whit Merrifield. This guy played so well this year that the Royals just cut ties with Omar Infante, even though they still owed him a sizable chunk of change.
You know, when it's all said and done, he'll get about a half a year under his belt. He's at 72 games right now. So, you know, they have had a chance to take a nice look at him.
Shallow right field. Brandon Geyer out there tonight. Makes the catch, 2 down. Rick, the other thing about the Indians outfield that I don't know, I know we've talked about it, but not something we've spent a great deal of time on, is the fact that not only are these guys in and out of the lineup, but they are pretty interchangeable. Now, not maybe every position, but we've seen Davis in center. We've seen him in left. I think we've even seen him in right.
Okay, yeah,
Geyer's
maybe
been
once
in
or
left.
twice.
He's been in right.
Right.
We know COCO can move around. So it's nice to have some guys that not only are they able to not have to play every day and stay sharp, but they can move around and play the different corner spots
if needed. It's nice to play a couple different positions. That's the way of the game nowadays. You've got to play a couple of positions, or they certainly would like you to. Especially if you mix and match like Tito does, then you're going to have to play a couple of different positions, I think. But the one thing I think the key to all these guys is that they stay rested. You know, I heard Lonnie say they get off their feet. Well, you know what? You stay strong all year long, and it doesn't beat you up like an everyday ball player. But you would rather have, or at least I would, an everyday, you know, guy that can go out there and you can plug him into the lineup.
But obviously, you got a Rajay Davis at 35. You
Right.
want to make sure you take care of him. That makes perfect sense. Good pitch in for a strike. Clevenger stays alive in the count, 3-1 with Kennery Morales on deck. Chops it foul and a full count. Mike Clevenger trying to work a 1-2-3 first inning, and for Mike, that one of his hurdles this year has been getting through an inning quickly and not having an inning drag out.
Well, this is what goes on. 2 strike foul balls in the last couple of starts is where they get the pitch count up off of him. He's a lot of times been able to get ahead of the guys, but they foul off maybe 3, 4, 5 pitches before he can get them out, and that hurts the pitch count. which hurts his innings.
Ground ball to first. Santana's there. He'll make the long flip. And Clevenger works a 1-2-3 first inning. The Indians are coming to bat. Aggressive. Rajai Davis leading it off. Jason Kitten to second. Francisco Lindor bats third. Then it's Mike Napoli. Carlos Santana's had a big series, 5 for 9 with a home run. Jose Ramirez a big night with 3 doubles last night. Brandon Guyer, Coco Crisp, and Roberto Perez rounded out.
And our Hyundai starting pitcher tonight is going to be Jason Vargas, who's just making his second start. He's been coming off a Tommy John surgery. His last one was against the White Sox, so he should be on a pitch count of around 65 pitches. It'll be his 13th career start against the Indians. He is 33 years old, so we'll see what he has to offer. He's not overpowering.
Swing and a miss. Rajai went after the first pitch, and it's 0-1.
He's a guy you're going to have to stay on, and the good approach would be center part of the field to opposite way. Force him to pitch you inside.
Two quick strikes. Rajai 1 out of 5 in the series. This is year 3 of a 4-year deal that Vargas signed with the Royals after the 2013 season. Strikes him out, 1 away. This kind of went up the ladder on him.
Let's check out the Royals defense behind Vargas tonight. It is Gordon in left field, Dyson in center. Orlando is back in right tonight. Cuthbert at third, Escobar at short, Merrifield is at second, Hosmer at first, Perez doing the catch.
I never begrudge a player for getting as much as he can. They have short careers. You've got a small window to make your money before your career is over. But Vargas is maybe exhibit A as to why long-term contracts are such a risky proposition for small to mid-market clubs, because they gave him the 4-year deal, understandable at the time, but he's basically missed 2 full seasons now out of that 4-year deal.
Yeah, and get this, he's returned back from Tommy John surgery in 409 days, which is the fastest by a major leaguer since Gavin Floyd did it back in 2014.
Wow.
So, you know, he's returned quickly, but that's the risk you take when you sign a pitcher.
Kipnis drives one to deep right. Orlando waves goodbye. Hit home run number 23, RBI number 80. And the Indians score first once again. That's 7 straight games the Indians have scored first, and they have 60 wins against just 19 losses now when they get the first tally on the board.
Well, this coming on an 0-2 pitch, which was a changeup, and Jason kept the hands back beautifully. Boom, he went down and hit it deep into the night. So Indians on the board. Kipnis is 23rd. And Vargas is saying, holy smokes, that happened in a hurry.
He strikes out Rajay Davis. He has Kipnis in the hole, and then boom. 1-0 Cleveland as Francisco Lindor steps to the plate. Lindor leads the Indians. This is 151st game played. He has more plate appearances than anybody else. And Terry Francona admitted that while fatigue may be an issue for a guy who's never played a full season in the major leagues, he said he still played a heck of a shortstop.
Right. See, that's as valuable as anything. It used to be you have to play good defense, and that's when this team started to turn around, is when he was called to the big leagues. From the minor leagues, the defense changed for the Indians instantly. So you know what? He's fine. He's still over 300. He's learning how to play one full year in the big leagues, and this is going to help him in the long run.
Kip said it last night with Andre at the end of the game. A lot of these young guys like Lindor, like Jose Ramirez, you can talk all you want. You can think about it. You can try to prepare until you go through it and experience it for yourself. There's really no other way you can get through it and learn.
It's a way of finding yourself and learning how to play at the big league level. And believe me, he's going to benefit from it.
Mike Napoli coming up now. I mean, Kip went through it. Every young player that's an everyday guy gets up there and they probably feel like, okay, I got this. And then September hits and they go, wait, we got another month?
Yeah, well, you know what? This guy's stepping into the box right now. He's struggling right now, and he's been through it many times. So, I mean, it just doesn't happen to young players.
He is, but he's on pace to play more games than he ever has.
Right, he's finding out. He knows it's tough.
And a lot of that's just due to good old-fashioned, injuries that have plagued him earlier in his career.
But Terry's been trying to take care of him all year, to get him off his feet as possible. He's DHing tonight, but that's the big bat in the lineup you don't want to take out, because the possibility is there. He could hit one out at any time.
Yeah, he's already eclipsed it. I wasn't sure how close he was, but yeah, he's over 140. Was the most games Napa ever played. He's at 143 tonight. And again, I think that is, look, there's a lot of credit that goes around when a player achieves that, when you've had the kind of history that he has. The training staff has obviously done their job.
Right.
Terry Francona and Mike, communicating and being up front, knowing when, hey, you might need a break. That's important too.
Well, you could always too, if you're a player, you can go to your manager and say, hey, I could use a day off or two. A lot of times guys are too proud to say that, but it used to be if you wanted your name out of the lineup, you would have to go talk to the manager to get it out if you were an everyday player. A trainer couldn't go into his office and say, hey, I don't think he can play today. You'd have to do it on your own.
Also, what's benefited him is Carlos Santana being able to play some first base.
Yeah,
not on an everyday basis.
Sure, it's been a bonus.
Spell him from time to time. Down on strikes goes Napoli, 2 away. Keys to the game tonight are brought to you by Wayside Furniture. Another opportunity for Mike Clevenger.
Yeah, he's going to get that opportunity, and I like this one. Score 1 run when needed. They had opportunities last night in a low-scoring game to move runners and get them in somehow, way, shape, or form. And boy, that's something that they really have to work on from here through the rest of the year.
Because small ball is October baseball.
You have to get 1 run sometimes, especially if you're not swinging the bats.
Great jump by Lindor. Perez throws, made it close, but Frankie steals the base, and that'll give him 19 on the year. Tell you what, folks, from where I'm sitting, you watch the jump Lindor had, and I'm thinking, well, this is a no-brainer. This is automatic. And Perez doesn't even appear to get a lot on the throw, and it's still close.
Yes, it is. He never came out of his crouch. He's one of the best. We showed you last night. He threw out his first base runner against the Indians last night, and he caught Rajai Davis late in the game. That was the first one. And I think they were 12 for 12 before that.
Tito said afterwards, it's two of the best throws by catchers you'll ever see. Perez throwing out Rajai Davis.
Yeah.
And our Perez, Roberto Perez, throwing out Terrence Gore. First time he'd been caught in his career.
No question.
Now the 1-1. By the way, that stolen base for Lindor gives the Indians 26 first inning stolen bases. That's their highest output in terms of steals on the year is the first inning. 26 out of 29.
They want to get out of the gates early.
Well, in some ways it stands to reason, at least my thinking is, well, in the first inning it's usually your fast guys that are up, and if they get on base,
pitcher trying to settle in,
you maybe take your shot. But they've had success running early in games.
Yeah, they've had success all year long. They lead the league in stolen bases, and they have the best percentage. So it's pretty awesome this year watching it.
2-2.
Oh, caught a break.
Yeah, nailed Perez and rolled back out toward the mound. No other team in the American League has as many first inning steals as the Indians. The only teams that had more first inning stolen bases, the Brewers and the Reds. And of course you got Billy Hamilton in Cincinnati. I'm not sure who's been running wild from Milwaukee, but nobody in the American League gets after it in the first inning as well as Cleveland. Jonathan Villar of Milwaukee.
Yeah. Yep, he's having a nice year.
Well, Salvador Perez ready to go again. Runner in scoring position for Santana now, the 2-2. And now he bangs one off of his leg and down he goes in a heap.
That looks like a shin burner.
They're beating each other up here at the plate.
He has protection there right above the ankle, but he gets up gingerly and he's limping.
Oh, toe. Right at the top of the foot.
No protection there.
And those almost look like, you know, the top of his shoe there where that ball hit almost looks like it's meshed. So just not a lot of protection there. Is it because every game's on television now, or do you think guys foul balls off their feet more now than they ever have before?
It seems like more so now, I think. And you know, the shoes they wear now are so light and they're cloth. You know, there's no real protection. Not that the leather shoes that we used to wear were any better. I think there was a little more protection, but they're so light right now. It goes down, and there's no, you can't get around it. It hurts. You have to wait till the hurt leaves.
Is it because guys maybe more, there are more sinker ballers, or guys will sink it more now?
Well, you got guys that
cut it as a cutter. Could that make it?
Could be throwing it inside. They go out there to get the ball and they just beat themselves up.
The other thing, guys, and I've talked to Carlos as well as Napoli about those shoes. Extremely comfortable, feel like tennis shoes, wear like tennis shoes.
Yeah.
As you guys both know, no protection when you're with those tennis
right.
shoes.
I'm surprised that the company doesn't come out with steel toes for some of these shoes.
Is Kevlar lightweight? Maybe
well, you know what? Ask Gomes down there. You would know. You would find out, Andre.
I'll ask him, but you know how guys are. They want to be light on their feet. I mean,
right.
I've talked to Frankie about the shoes he has, and he's working on getting some that are more comfortable and have different types of spikes, but they all want them light because everybody feels like light makes them run better.
Yeah, but you know what? You also want protection when you fall the couple off your feet already.
Hey,
you know?
I remember watching the Munsters, and Herman had a tryout with the Dodgers. And you know, if you hit it like 6 miles over the fence, it doesn't matter. You can still run around the bases.
That was in black and white.
That's right. That was a long time ago.
You don't remember that show, Andre? Google it.
I got that one. Don't you worry about what I remember. I actually remember you playing.
The 2-2. It's hit in the center. Base hit. It'll get down. Splits the outfielders. Santana delivers with an RBI double. 2-0 Cleveland. That gives Santana 80 RBIs on the year. So both Kipnis and Santana each drive home their 80th, and the Indians lead it 2-0.
Well, I got to tell you, that was a really good swing from Carlos. Maybe he should foul one off of there more often because he's shooting this one into the gap. He took it the other way and was pitch number 10. And when you see him from the right side going to right center, you love that. It was elevated. He made it a little bit easier for him, Vargas did. But a big 2-out base hit. He's got 5 hits in the last 2 games, folks. He's been swinging it very well.
So the Indians extend the lead. Pitching coach Dave Island went out for a quick chat. And now Jose Ramirez, off a tremendous performance last night with 3 doubles. He was 1 shy of equaling the club record. And they walked him his 4th time up, which was probably a smart play on their part.
Yeah, but it was a pretty good at bat. You know, he was down in 2 strikes and he really had to work hard to get back into the at bat before he walked.
Right side out of play. Kia in the driver's seat. Jose Ramirez, 7th in the American League in batting average, and also among the top 10 runners in scoring position. Pop back out of play. Carlos Santana, 6 hits in the series, including a home run. And now Ramirez trying to bloop one in, but Dyson playing shallow makes the catch, ends the inning. Jason Kipnis gets the party started with a solo smash, and the Indians lead it 2-0 after 1.
Did all season with radio broadcasts, video highlights, stats, news, and more. Download MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your smartphone and tablet.
2nd inning, Cleveland up 2-0. And Kendry Morales will lead it off for the Royals. The DH 2 for 8 in the series. 3-man shift to the right side for Cleveland, and Clevenger misses inside with a fastball, 1-0. Ground ball right to Lindor. They're set. He'll throw. One away. All right, a lot of people are wondering, can Mike Clevinger get it done for Cleveland perhaps in October? Well, take a look at this. Through their first 45 1/3 innings, which is where Clevinger was starting tonight's game, look at how he stacked up to a Jarrett Wright in his first 45 1/3 innings. Those numbers are almost identical in just about every category.
They really are, but Jarrett's got a long way to go to catch up to that hair.
I'm not sure Clevinger
I
could
mean,
serve.
you know, that's funny. You put those up there. Nobody would ever realize that.
Well, Rick, I got to thinking about it because, of course, with the injuries, the common reaction is the sky is falling.
Right.
But I got to thinking, you know, in '97, when the Indians made what at that time was a rather improbable run to the World Series, they were fueled by guys that people weren't looking for. Chad O.J. mainly, and a young Jarrett Wright. Nobody saw those guys emerging as October stars. And I thought, you know, I remember Jarrett when he first came up. Now, he was the 10th overall pick, so there was more hype surrounding Jarrett Wright when he came to the big leagues with Cleveland. But I remember he didn't exactly set the world on fire.
Right.
So I said, I'm curious to see how their numbers would compare over the same time frame. And I was actually really surprised how similar they really were.
Very.
Both power pitchers. Now, Jarrett had the big curveball.
Right. Now you hope that Clevinger gets an opportunity like Jarrett had. Jarrett ended up starting the 7th game of the World Series, for goodness sakes.
But if you remember right, I don't think he started a game in the division series. Strike 3 called. Salvador Perez is rung up, and there are 2 down. I'd have to go back and look, but I remember.
Well, that could very well happen here with him as well. Here is our Nissan pitch tracker, down and away at the knees, outside corner, gets the call from Paul Emmel. And his first strikeout tonight, and that's the changeup to a right-handed hitter. How about that? Someone's having fun tonight.
Now, Jarrett started in the division series against the Yankees. The 0-1 down low. There's a liner to center, and it's going to get down for a hit. 2-out single. First hit for the Royals tonight. So Murph said he started twice in the division series, once in the LCS, twice in the World Series. That's Jarrett Wright. Interesting, though, when you look back, and this really speaks to how entertaining that ALCS was against Baltimore that year. It went 6 games. But in the games that the Indians won, I want to read you the winning pitchers. None of them starters. Paul Ossenmacher, Eric Plunk, Jose Mesa, Brian Anderson.
Which usually happens a lot when you get into the playoffs because starters are gone. You know, they don't go deep into the game. I mean, there's times they do, but when you get into a series, that can happen. It's all depends on the bullpen.
Yeah, in the World Series it was just the opposite. It was the starters, Chad O.J., Jarrett Wright, Chad O.J. Those were the 3 wins, and of course Jarrett was in line for a win in Game 7, just didn't work out. But October, impossible to predict. Alcides Escobar, hitless in the series. To center field a long way. Back goes Rajay, still going back, and it's gone. Alcides Escobar, not known for his power, but he has hit a bunch of home runs here lately. And his 2-out 2-run shot has tied the game here in inning number 2.
This is certainly a guy that you would not think would take you to straightaway center field. This would be our Indiana Wesleyan University pitch tracker. We came right back down the middle, 93-mile-an-hour fastball. he put a good swing on it, and that's straightaway center over the head of Davis, and that ties the game with one swing.
That's his 6th homer in his last 149 at bats, after 1 homer in his previous 600 at bats. And there's a line drive to right. Ends the inning. Royals come right back. They answer with a 2-run homer. We're tied, middle of the 2nd. In the house, rooting on the Tribe tonight, and hopefully, I know Cavaliers fans are probably hoping that he and the Cavs will come to an agreement at some point, and he'll be able to suit up with the defending world champs come opening night.
Well, there's a little time left to get it done.
Yeah. If I remember right, didn't we talk about this? Opening night for the Cavs would be, knock on wood, Game 1 of the World Series in the American League city to host. So if the Indians get that far, host the World Series, it would be the same night. Maybe not opening night, but with the Cavs home open.
Right, gotcha.
Yeah, that'd be a pretty cool night. And that guy played a huge role for the Cavaliers last year. Hopefully they'll get something done. Brandon Guyer, 0-2 pitch up high. And there's a liner left center. A lot of room out there for Dyson. 1 down. Injury report brought to you by the attorneys at Elk and Elk. Both didn't start tonight, Kinsler and Martinez, but Victor hit a monster home run deep to right field. It was a pinch hit 3-run shot. Kinsler's still out. Martinez will DH as Detroit trying to hang in there. And whether or not they still believe they've got a chance in the division, they're very much still alive in the wild card race. They're only a game out when the day began. That wild card in the American League could be really, really crazy going down the stretch.
It's getting wilder, isn't it?
Yeah. When the day began, Toronto, Baltimore occupying the top 2 spots, but Detroit, Houston, both a game out. Seattle 2 back. New York 2.5 back. And in the National League, the day began with a 3-way tie in the wild card. So the guys who are in charge of the tiebreaker scenarios,
good luck.
Oh, they're not sleeping real well.
Yeah, there's the American League.
top 2 make it, and if you really want to make your head spin, you can go online. You can read the various scenarios, how they would break the ties if there's a 3-way tie, if there's a 4-way tie. 2-2 pitch. High. Looks like it's foul, and it is out of play. The other thing too, Arch, with what? Let's see, after tonight, 10 games left roughly for everybody. A lot of things can happen in 10 games. A lot of things can happen in one series. So while it's all bunched together right now, it might look totally different in 4 days.
Yes.
Liner caught by Merrifield, the second baseman, 2 down. So the National League wild card race, it's pretty much 3 teams. Pittsburgh, they're a long shot now.
Yeah, you're looking at what you're seeing right there. San Francisco, they end the year at home with 3 against the Dodgers, I believe.
Yes, they do.
And you know, it all depends on the upcoming schedule. I think the St. Louis has the Cubs this weekend. And you know, when you think about it, and when you're talking about the wild card, how about the Tigers? They end up the year in Atlanta.
And Atlanta just
and then that's a National League team. So what's that do? That takes Victor Martinez out of play for the most part.
Yep.
And they're playing spoiler because they're playing some pretty good baseball right now with Kemp in there.
Yeah, don't just look at their record and think that'll be an easy 3 games to win.
You got Freddie Freeman down there, Dansby Swanson, the kid, the shortstop that the Diamondbacks traded over there. They've been playing really good baseball. So that's interesting.
The 0-2. Still, if you're the Mets, you're at home, you're playing Atlanta. Terry Collins has just got to be beside himself that they couldn't win at least 1 game. And it looked like they were going to win last night with a walk-off homer. And Enciarte goes over the wall and robs a 2-run homer.
Yeah, played a snatch back, so then snatch him back.
Indians go 1-2-3. We are tied at 2 after 2 here in Cleveland. Enjoying a cold one tonight. To stay tuned later in the game for Miller Time, brought to you by Miller Lite. Mike Clevenger right back to work here. Chesler Cuthbert, the number 9 hitter in the lineup, will lead it off. I recognize he hasn't been pitching deep into games here of late, but that's still the most runs he's allowed since back on August 23rd. when, you know, I think that was a relief appearance. He gave up 3 runs against Oakland.
Yeah, even though he's been coming out of the bullpen, he's been going a couple innings, it seems like, every time he has pitched. So, and he was starting all year.
He did not go around.
On the year, though, he's been very tough against left-handed hitters. They're hitting just 171. The right-handers are hitting 100 points higher. They're at 274 coming into today, and they have 6 of the 7 home runs he's allowed.
Belt high strike, 3-1 to count. Might have been a tad generous there.
Well, it's the 3-0 call. Now he walks him.
Our player profile brought to you by Levin Furniture. Clevenger was a 4th-round pick of the Angels. Came to the Tribe in the Vinny Pistano deal. And his first big league win came against those Angels on August 13th. You know, the one thing when we had the side-by-side comparison between Clevenger and Jarrett Wright at this point in their careers, Jarrett had fewer walks. Clevenger had more strikeouts. But the walks are somewhat problematic for Clevenger because they tend to lengthen the inning, make him throw more pitches, and obviously you get more traffic on the base paths. They're looking for a bunt. Ramirez way in at 3rd. He's not showing bunt, and it's ball 2, and here goes Roberto Perez.
Well,
let's go down to Andre.
Well, one of the things about Clev is he's trying to take what he's learned in the bullpen, a little bit like Carlos Carrasco, and use it as a starter. Even today, and even in his start last week against the White Sox, he went out with the other relievers and threw. Now, most starting pitchers don't do that, but he felt like he got warm better that way. He felt like it eased him into his start in his last start. So he's trying to take little elements from the bullpen and things he's learned this year and use them as a starter, because he said it seems like he was starting slow the first couple of starts he had after he came out of the bullpen, and he wants to be better earlier in the game.
2-0 count to Dyson here, and he's hacking, fouls it back out of play. Well, he came out guns blazing. First 5 set down the toughest outs, Hosmer, Morales, Perez, and then a knock and a blast, and boom, just like that, 2 hitters later, it's a tie game.
Yeah, with 2 outs. You know, with the chance that, I mean, that happens to a lot of young pitchers where they have an opportunity to get out of the inning and it snowballs on them at times.
Now he bunts, and nobody's at first. He tried to throw it. Oh, it hit the umpire. They catch a huge break.
Boy, did they ever.
Otherwise, Cuthbert would have been at 3rd.
And I bet Dyson would have been at 2nd.
Yeah, real good chance. Santana probably should have laid back because it looked like Clevenger had a real good chance to get the ball, but once Santana charged, it's just Kipnis couldn't get there.
He was not going to beat him to the bag either, I don't think, on a dead run. Even though it was not a good throw by Clevenger. It gets by him, but it hits first base umpire Scott Berrien. That's a break for the Indians right there. Runners have to remain at 1st and 2nd. Still nobody out. They will give him a base hit.
And the batter is Whit Merrifield. Fly to right. His first time up. Is he bunting now? He hasn't been swinging the bat all that well of late. 1 for 9 in the series. But he's swinging away, and it's a routine fly ball to left. COCO backing up. Tagging at 2nd is Cuthbert. He will not go to 3rd. And so they decide not to bunt to get that go-ahead run into scoring position. And now a double play could get him out of the inning. But the best case scenario, the best news is that a fly ball here won't give Kansas City the lead, should he be able to hold Hosmer to something of that nature. It's inside, ball 1. Unless you get a breaking ball that Hosmer kind of tops and rolls over to first base, even when he hits the ball, he usually blisters it.
He hits it hard with a little authority.
Now, if it's at somebody, that gives you a great chance to turn a double play. Moved his feet. Hosmer, second on the team in hitting into double plays. He's banged into 17. His teammate Kendry Morales has hit into 18. And a lot of that is due to the fact that Morales just can't run.
Exactly. I was going to say Hosmer can run a lot better than Morales, but he hits the ball hard too. Got under it.
Popped him up. Shallow center. In comes Rajai Davis. And there are 2 away. Not out of the woods yet, though. Another tough hitter to go, Kendry Morales. He is 2 for 9 in the series, but 29 homers on the year. And coming into this series, Morales had been on fire. In his last 26 at bats with runners in scoring position, he's 13 hits. Archie's one of those guys that he goes up there, almost looks like he's not even trying hard, but the next thing you know, he's been able to put the barrel on the baseball.
He finds a way. He has been very good in the middle part of the lineup. Drove in the first run for Kansas City last night with the 3rd consecutive 2-out single.
To left, COCO moving back, makes the catch, and a terrific job by Mike Clevenger. First 2 reach, he sets him down 1, 2, 3, and now Jason Kipnis, who homered his first time up, will lead off the bottom of the 3rd when we return. Bottom of the 3rd, top of the order for Cleveland. Rajai Davis, Jason Kipnis, and Francisco Lindor. By the way, we mentioned earlier that the Tigers beat up the Twins in game 1 of that doubleheader. Our guys at Inside Edge, the scouts, how about this, Arch? This is amazing. In the 9th inning, and that's when Detroit blew it open. It was
Right.
a close game up until then. The Twins walked 5 of the 11 batters they faced in that 9th inning. Clayton Kershaw this year has faced 493 batters and walked 10.
That's a tough guy to compare him to. I mean, comparing him to the best, but that's been their problem all year long.
Yeah, the Twins'
a lot of
bullpen
walks.
has been a mess.
Yes, it has.
Rajay pops it up. Right side of the infield. Merrifield. 1 away.
Well, you can purchase your 2017 Indian season tickets now, and you'll get priority access to all postseason games this year. Plus, you'll get opening day requests next year, team shop discounts, much more. Visit Indians.com postseason for full details.
One out for Jason Kipnis. He went down, and I don't want to say he golfed it, but he had that classic left-handed hitter uppercut swing and launched that home run in the first inning.
That was on an 0-2 pitch as well. You know, Vargas has done it the first time through. He was first pitch strikes to 7 of the 9 hitters. He had 2 strikes on all 9 batters faced and had 0-2 counts to 6 of them. So he's throwing strikes. Kipnis hit a pretty good pitch out of the ballpark.
Three balls and a strike here. Perfect pitch.
You know, and Vargas has started in his career 5 games here at Progressive Field. As you take a look at this pitch, wow, I know
Maybe it was generous.
Generous. That's okay. But he has 5 starts here. He's 2-0 in this ballpark in his career with a 3.41 ERA. So he has had some success.
He didn't throw it where he wanted to, but he got away with it. Hosmer holds on. 1 away or 2 down. Watch the swing on this pitch the first time up.
Yeah, he just elevated. I mean, he got down and had that uppercut and then got it into the air in a hurry. Then last time he had a pitch up and he popped it straight up.
Yeah, it looked like Perez was motioning, get this down, make sure this pitch is down, and it wasn't. But he might have missed up enough that
Yes, he
Kipnis
did.
couldn't quite square it. Now Lindor takes a strike. He walked, stole a base, and scored in the first.
Well, a lot of times, you know, people think that if you just throw it right there that people are going to hit it out. There's a lot of times hitters miss their pitches, boy, and they pop it straight up or they don't do it. There's other times where a pitcher will make a pretty good pitch and they can hit it out. It's crazy, or hit it hard somewhere.
Wow, he made quick work of Frankie, and the Indians go 1, 2, 3, 7 straight retired by Vargas. from the Indians right-hander, his 18th win of the season, which ironically is how many wins he had when he won the Cy Young Award 2 seasons ago. Struck out 9 and 6 1/3. Gave up just 2 runs.
What a slider he had last night. At one time struck out 5 consecutive batters.
Salvador Perez going to lead off for Kansas City. Called out on strikes his first time up. And a swing and a miss, 0-2. Straighten him up. A ball and 2 strikes. Pretty well deep to left. Back goes COCO, and off the top of the wall. Backing it up well is Rajay. Strong throw to second, but Perez slides in safely with a leadoff double.
Well, Perez gets a double. That's a little spinner, man. That's a hanging slider. That speeds up the bat of Perez. He just misses hitting that ball out. Hits high up on the wall as Davis makes a nice play coming over to back up. As COCO was going to the wall thinking he might have had a play on it. That's what you do as the center fielder, come over and back up if it ricochets, and it did. But it's a leadoff double. He had the first 2 guys aboard in the last inning.
Alex Gordon had a base hit and scored in the second ahead of the homer by Alcides Escobar. There's a foul, and it's 1-1. Since the start of last season, Alex Gordon has logged a .342 batting average coming into tonight here at Progressive Field. Couldn't catch up to that heat, and he's in the hole 1-2.
Well, this would be nice if he can get one more by him like that, where he cannot move the runner.
A little high, and it's 2-2.
Good
Got
pitch.
him looking. Oh, a perfect pitch at the knees on the outside corner. Gordon unhappy. Second strikeout for Clevenger.
Yeah, that had some beautiful movement to it, going right down at the knees, outside edge. There you have it, man. That's a good 2-strike pitch. He gets the strikeout and the first out of the inning.
Good fastball gets ahead. A lot of first pitch fastballs from Clevenger, and when he can locate, that should be very beneficial for him. The only walk so far came to Cheslor Cuthbert, and that's when he fell behind in the count.
Okay, to this point, he's been pretty good.
Coming into tonight, he was averaging around 18 pitches per inning, so he's been better.
Yeah.
Sal Perez, the go-ahead run for Kansas City at second base. The 1-1 on its way to Alcides Escobar. And low.
Changeup.
In this, the year of the home run hitter, no pitcher is safe. As proved by Escobar's first time up, who's only hit 6 home runs on the year coming into tonight, and yet even he drove one out to the big part of the ballpark.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And we mentioned how much home runs are up throughout the course of this year, but the pitch that he made to him was not a very good pitch. There was one right down the middle.
And the 2-2 is fouled back.
I want to send along birthday wishes. Dr. Virginia Fulcomer is 100 years old tonight, and happy 90th birthday to Fritz Viccarell from Struthers, Ohio.
Fritz from Struthers, huh?
Yes, indeed.
A lot of great people in Struthers, but there are some you got to watch out for. With a 1 out, a 2-2 count on Escobar. Full count. And another meeting.
Well, you better have a meeting because you've got a catcher that's sitting out there.
I was thinking the same
at second base, and he could be looking at those signs. So you know what? You want to make sure, go out there one time, tell him what you want him to throw, and don't put down a sign, just in case.
If anybody can figure it out real easy, he'd be the catcher.
Yeah, no kidding. You know, if you get out there on any extended stay, you're right. He could have a pretty good idea.
And it's a real subtle maneuver to tell the hitter what he thinks is coming.
Well, you just don't have to put down a sign here. I mean, after talking to Clevenger, we'll see what they do.
He pointed out.
There you go.
What you want.
Good. That's very good. I like that.
Swung on and missed. He struck him out. Back-to-back Ks for Clevenger.
Came back with that changeup, and you know, a couple of starts ago he wouldn't throw the changeup to right-handers, but he's doing a really good job tonight of trying to throw that thing in there, and he's throwing it in big spots. So that's nice to see. I think in his last start he maybe 1, 2, not many, but this tonight much better.
Missed inside, ball 1. According to our statistical data, he's thrown a higher percentage of changeups tonight than any of his starts.
Yeah. And, you know, a lot of them have come to the right-handers, which is good.
The 1-0 is a little bit outside. Paulo Orlando flied to right to end the second inning. Swing and a miss. Go back to something I heard Corey Kluber say after the game last night, which was we wanted to take advantage of their aggressiveness as a team. So to me, it stands to reason. If you're an aggressive hitting team, change-ups are a way to keep them maybe a little bit off balance.
Well, he can control his changeup. Clevenger can better than his slider. He leaves his slider up. The changeup is a better feel for him. It looks like to me. You know, you can work that fastball and changeup to a lot of hitters. I mean, you don't. Oh, good pitch. There you go. If you can locate that pitch, then that changeup is that much better. And to tell you the truth, I like Clev's curveball better than I like his slider. But there's a good fastball on the inside edge. Orlando doesn't like it.
Now the 2-2. Out of play. You know, that goes back to my argument that I mentioned to you a week ago. We were on the road. Orlando's reaction to the umpire's call was something no umpire would ever tolerate from a pitcher who would do the same thing.
Right.
But if you're a hitter,
they shouldn't take that. No, he should say something to him when they do that. That must have been a Bauer start that you're talking about.
It very well could have been. Here's the 2-2. He got a piece of it to stay alive. Now that fastball was up to 94. The one that he spotted on the inside corner was 91. But you could see Orlando couldn't, even if he wanted to swing at it, he couldn't have pulled the trigger.
And he's thrown him 3 straight fastballs. That one on the inside corner, he dotted the outside part of the plate, and that one right there that he just fouled off. So it might be time for a changeup coming back.
Took something off. Ramirez stays with it. Perfect throw.
Good inning.
Mike Clevenger continues to navigate his way through some tough innings. Strikes out a pair. We're still tied at 2. And the ERA title this year is still very much up in the air. Tanaka as the lead. Porcello, who many feel is the leader in the clubhouse for the Cy Young Award, although he's not really in the clubhouse because he's got a start or two left. Corey Kluber still very much in the conversation. I've heard a lot of people nationally saying they think it's Porcello with Kluber finishing second, but maybe something happens that
couple more starts.
turns the tables.
Porcello's been great all year, no question. Kluber's been great his last 14 starts. He's been unhittable.
Mike Napoli down on strikes his first time up. Foul off the bat of the big right-handed slugger.
That's maybe a show fastball. I don't think he's going to throw him much to hit as far as the fastball goes. Coming inside now.
And a foul back. A little bit low and away.
Close. I think he's hearing something from the other side. It looked like it was pretty close. I know Vargas thought he had one there.
Got him to chase. And the shortstop Escobar throws him out, one away. Friday, November 4th, fight night in Cleveland. Don't miss out. Tickets start at only $20. For more information, go to clevelandboxinginvitational.com. The Cleveland Boxing Invitational is presented by First National Bank. Almost hit him. Santana spun out of the way. Santana has hit everything the Royals have thrown at him in this series. 6 out of 10 with a home run. And a big hook drops in for a strike to even the count.
And you can see where he works the edges, man. He's throwing 84, 85. Changes speeds, get you off balance, and get you into swinging pitches that he wants you to swing at.
2 down.
And this will probably, if he can get through it, be his last inning, I would think. As I mentioned in his last start, and that was his first one. You know, about a year and a half. He started against the White Sox, where he went 3 innings and threw 52 pitches. 31 of them were for strikes. Today, he's thrown 69 pitches, 47 for strikes.
And a breaking ball popped to center, right center, and the right fielder Orlando makes the catch. Vargas breezes through the 4th. We're still deadlocked at 2. you by Levin Furniture. For the best deals on furniture and mattresses, shop Levin's. 2-2 our score as we roll on to the 5th inning here at Progressive Field. Governor Kasich sent out a proclamation. The flags will be flown at half-staff in honor of fallen State Highway Patrol Trooper Kenneth Velez. He was killed 1 week ago today after conducting a routine traffic stop on I-90 just west of the ballpark. He was just 48 years old, leaving behind 3 children. He was a huge sports fan, in addition to a guy who did his job and did it very well and was respected by all of his peers. His son is a sophomore at Amherst Steel High School. And just days before his father was killed, Christian was named a starter for the first time. And the day after his father was killed, he started his first varsity football game for a Comets team that had lost 14 games in a row. And the next night, they went out with Christian starting and ended that losing streak, beating Berea. Pitch down low, full count. Just a reminder to all of us, when you're out there on the roads, folks, be alert. Be on the lookout for your safety patrol workers, the guys who are working for a living on the side of the roads, and your patrolmen. 3-2. Low, ball 4, and the Royals get their leadoff man aboard.
It's the 3rd straight inning.
Yeah, he's had to deal with some traffic.
Yeah, where they've been able to get their leadoff man aboard. Only his 2nd walk. But this is a guy that after they add their let me think. Yeah, one. He bunted to make something happen here. So you got to be aware of that again.
Fly ball to center. Back goes Rajay. And that's out number 1.
Well, Mike Clevenger has done a nice job working his changeup in. He's tried to work all of his pitches, and you're going to see a steady diet of changeups right here. And boy, this has been a start where he has really highlighted this pitch, and it's been good. It's been located well. He's had the hitters out. You can see it coming out of his hand. It gets turned over a little bit. It stays down. It's been a very effective pitch for him. He's been able to spot that fastball as well. He made one mistake.
Good fastball here. Gets ahead of Merrifield. He's at 75 pitches. 43 of them for strikes. Dan Otero ready in the Cleveland pen if needed. In the dirt. Runner goes. Pitch is low.
That was a hit and run.
He swung at it anyway.
Yeah, that was a hit and run.
It was kind of weird. I think the ball was literally already out of Perez's glove when he swung at it.
But it was so far out of the strike zone. Look at, he's talking to himself. Now let's take a look at it again. Hit and run that bounced. He forgot it was a hit and run because it was such a bad pitch that, and then he said, "Oh, I better swing." That's beautiful. He can't get in trouble now because he swung. Might have been a little tardy on it, but the ball was in the dirt, so not much you could do. So now he has a job to try. He's still sitting in the driver's seat, 2-1 count.
Popped up, foul out of play.
Yeah, that was a weird looking swing. I've seen hit guys before on hit and run. Jim Gantner used to do it. Somebody almost tried to pitch out and he threw his bat out at the baseball and hit it and got the job done. That's what he would have had to do there if he wanted to get a piece of it. He would have had to throw his bat out in front of the plate to get a piece of it.
Swung on and missed. He struck him out. That's number 4 for Clevenger. I'll tell you one thing about this kid. He has made some tough pitches when he has had to make them so far tonight.
Yeah, he certainly has. They're down, Matt. I like it. They're down in the strike zone. He's able to get Merrifield to chase this pitch. Mickey Callaway is going to come out and talk to him now because you are facing a very tough hitter here with Hosmer. So he wants to talk to him how he wants to go about it.
Yeah, you know, I just said, Rick, he's made a lot of tough pitches tonight. He's got one more to go, more than likely. I'm assuming you've got the bullpen up. Terry, he doesn't like to get those guys up if he's not going to bring them into the game. And even though Clevenger's still just shy of 80 pitches, this might be his final hitter of the night. Chop to first. Santana with a great backhanded pick on the short hop, and that'll end the inning. 5 really gutsy innings for Mike Clevenger here tonight. He gets out of the jam, and we stay tied at 2. Mike Clevenger has done a good job tonight.
Yeah,
the
he
Cleveland
really
Clinic
has.
call to the bullpen has been made because Jason Vargas has done a nice job as well, but he's working his way back from Tommy John surgery, so he's not built up to go deep into the game. So after 4, he's done, and Dylan G will come on, a right-hander for Kansas City, which means Terry Francona will counter with some of his left-handed bats off the bench, and Lonnie Chisenhall will lead off, batting for Brandon Geyer here in the bottom of the 5th.
Yeah, Vargas a nice job. He gave up the 2 hits and the 2 runs back in the first inning and then retired 10 straight. So now he'll turn it over to Dylan G, who came in relief of this guy in his last outing against the White Sox. He got the win because G went 4 1/3 innings, gave up 5 hits and 1 run. Didn't walk anybody and had a couple of strikeouts. Look out.
Lonnie smacked that right off the front of the Kansas City dugout, and somebody went flying. foul down the right side into the seats. It's 0-2. Lonnie this year 2 for 12 as a pinch hitter. In the dirt. Out of play. Roberto Perez due up after Coco Crisp, who waits in the on-deck circle. No 1-2. Lonnie checked its foul.
Lonnie drove in the Indians' first run in last night's ball game in the second inning.
If you join us late, the Tigers are playing a day-night, a split doubleheader after they were rained out last night in Minnesota. The Tigers won the first game, and the second game should be
just underway.
Indians began the night with a magic number of 5.
It's Detroit 2-0.
I think that hit him. It did. It clipped him on the 5, and Lonnie is aboard to start the bottom of the 5th. I'm sorry. What did you?
I said Detroit was up early, 2-0.
Oh, okay.
Take a look. He's looking for that fastball. Wow, just got a piece. Not by much, but it did. It grazed him. Boy, just barely. No, if you got to get hit, that's the way to take it right there.
Kansas City, is Kansas City asking?
I think they are.
Now, I got to check to see if this is a true challenge or if they're just asking. This is like a crew chief deal. I think you have to challenge this, don't you?
I don't see a challenge on the board, so I'm thinking it's just the play they asked him to check and take a look at.
Now, based on the rules, because I'm looking at it, batter hit by pitch is a manager's challenge. So,
okay, well then the scoreboard better catch up.
it is a Royals challenge, and I don't know why they challenged it.
Well, you know who would see it? You would think Perez behind the plate, who did not hang on to the ball and catch it, would be able to tell his manager, no, don't do it. You could see the pants, and he couldn't hang on to it.
Well, if you were listening to Perez, that's a bad idea because he had his eyes closed. You could see that really well on the replay. So the call is confirmed by replay, and the Royals kind of blow their challenge rights. Coco Crisp, late swing, trying to maybe shoot it the other way. He's down on the count 0-2. Leadoff man at first. COCO in the hole. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Dylan G lets it fly and a foul back. You know, Rick, the Indians have won 4 out of 5 on the homestand. And they've done this despite the fact that Lindor is 0 for his last 18.
Yes.
Napoli's 0 for his last 18. And COCO 0 for his last 13. So they've got some guys who aren't exactly firing right now. Yet they're still finding ways to win, which tells you
1-run ball games they're doing it.
And it's not about just any one individual.
They had scored 11 in the opener of this homestand, and a 1-0 win, a 2-1 win, and a 4-3 win. So they've had to do it, you know, low scoring and the way you like to do it.
Tells you the bullpen's been really good.
Bullpen's been very good. But like one of the keys we had today, get that 1 run when you have to, manufacture it, and we're getting to that point.
2-2. Cold foul by inches.
You know, because we're into the bullpen now, and I'm sure that Clevenger is probably out of the game. Watch the umpire standing right there. He knows it's foul because he has to move to the inside part.
There's a fly ball to center field and a late break, and he can't get there. And it's going to drop for a single. Look at the reaction by Gerard Dyson. I think the swing by COCO Crisp fooled him, and he couldn't get there in time.
Well, it might have fooled him a little bit, and that ball might have been hit right off the end of the bat where, you know, it sounded like it. Look at COCO thought it was just going to be an at-bat. Dyson went back is what happened. He took a step back. And, you know, I can see where it freezes you sometimes, but he actually took a step back before he could come in. So that's one right there where you can get fooled by the swing. It goes off the end of the bat, and that one landed in front of him, and he doesn't like it. He's talking to himself right now. So now the Indians, first and second. Here we go. Exactly what our key was. Manufacture a run when you have to.
Small ball.
And Perez did a nice job last night. For the insurance run they got late in the ball game, he sacrificed him to second base. So here you're going to have a situation where you may want to bunt it down the third base line and let that third baseman field it.
We've seen them now as a team last several days practicing, working on bunting. Now they're bunting off a machine, but at least they're working on it.
They should do it all year long. Team should.
He squares. And he jabbed at it and missed.
Yeah, he sure did. See, he pushed it last night to right. Oh, this is Naquin after he got the base hit. Now watch the bunt. He goes to first base side, which was a nice bunt. He kept it back, and it's easier to go that way, but you've got to angle your bat a little bit more down. Santana came up with a big hit. That's what they manufactured. Now they're trying to do the same thing. Now, if he's going to go down the third baseline, you better get the barrel head of the bat out in front of the plate. And he did the same thing that happened
got
before.
him, and this is going to be a double play. Wow. That is absolutely the worst case scenario.
Well, you want to bunt it to third base. He was trying to push it the other way. And that was, you see where you push out like that, you've got to angle your bat. So a double play. So you went from trying to bunt him over. You see where his bat angle was? It was behind the plate. You can't bunt it to third base that way. And they got a lot more work to do on the bunt.
No, he wasn't really busting it right out of the box either. He looked down at third and realized, uh-oh, they're going to try to turn a double play. Tried to pick it up to no avail. So now it's going to take a 2-out hit from Rajai Davis to break the tie. I guess they'll be out working on the bunting again tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's just something you don't come out and work out and think you're going to get it done. It has to be taken care of all year long. It really does. Especially the guys that are in the situation.
That'll end the inning. A golden opportunity vanquished here in the 5th. Started the scoring with a solo homer by Jason Kipnis in the bottom of the first. Then a 2-out RBI double by Carlos Santana played in Francisco Lindor. It was 2-0. But in the second, a 2-out 2-run homer by Alcides Escobar tied it. And it has stayed that way ever since. Now Dan Otero, who hasn't pitched in almost a week. He'll be on to face Kendrys Morales.
He was getting quite a bit of work load before he had a little time off. So this is the guy that's actually the unsung hero of that bullpen. He's had a tremendous year to this point. Chisenhall stays in the game in right field. Indians bullpen on the homestand. They have pitched 20 in the third innings. Given up 6 hits, 3 earned runs, and that came on the Upton 3-run homer, if you recall. 21 strikeouts in their 20 in the third inning, so they've done an outstanding job.
Foul back out of play.
You know, you talk about this Kansas City team. You know, in the Central, they have had their fair share of runs scored. They average 5.4 against Detroit, 4.5 against Chicago, 6.8 against Minnesota. But you get to the Indians and it's just 3.3, and they're hitting .250, their lowest average against any team. And you carry it into last year, they scored a run more per game against the Indians than they're doing this year. So the pitching has been very good for the Tribe.
I can tell you, though, that did not come as any kind of a surprise for Ned Yost.
No, he knows.
I mean, I remember as far back as, well, December when I talked to him at the winter meetings. You know, he said, hey, facing the Indians all season long and facing the Chris Sales and the Verlanders.
Right.
Goes, we got to face the Mets. I know they've got a good rotation, but it wasn't like anything we hadn't already faced before this year.
Yeah, well, that says something. You're right. They went out there, and you know, when you say we're going to be facing that Chicago staff coming in, you got Chris Sale, you got Quintana, you got Rodon. They have guys. Of course, we're not going to see Sale.
Right.
We're going to see
Miguel Gonzalez.
Miguel Gonzalez, who beat him in Chicago. But you know, there is some very good pitching. Verlander's on the mound tonight against Minnesota for Game 2.
Lindor throws out Morales. With the shift on, 1 away, we go back to the studios. Here's Ashley Collins.
Thanks, Matt. The Angels and the Astros are in Houston, and Albert Pujols would give the Angels the early lead, a 2-run shot out to left field. Mike Trout would score on that one. That was Pujols' 31st homer on the year. You guys are talking about that close race in the wild card. Houston a half game behind Detroit in those standings. Angels up 2-0. Tigers up 2-0 right now over the Twins, guys.
All right, thank you, Ashley. That was a bases loaded walk and a sac fly for the Tigers. Only 2 runs in their game against Minnesota, but this is still early. They're in the third. A wild card race. Anything can happen there still. And the nice thing too, that you know, when you Kansas City, this is a club that we're going to see again to end the season in Kansas City.
Yeah, we'll end the year there, correct.
They're going to leave here and go up by 75 and play the Tigers. And so Detroit's they don't exactly have an easy road to hoe. Detroit's got 4 with the Indians. They got 3 with these guys. They got 3 down in Atlanta to finish.
Okay.
The 2-1. Smashed to third. Nice play again by Ramirez. Those quick hands have served him well.
Well, he made a play last night's ball game. He didn't know which way to turn the glove, and I'm not sure if the ball took a bad hop. He thought he was going to, and then had to backhand it. Watch how he gets himself sideways. You don't know how hard it's hit, but he wanted to see that hop, and he looked it into his glove. Just, you see, he's trying to get his footwork in. A lot of times at third base, you like to charge balls. That's when you couldn't charge. You couldn't move on. You just have to sort of see what happens and how it comes, and it was a in-between hop.
Alex Gordon fouls it into the glove of Roberto Perez. We're in the 6th, tied at 2. Gordon out on strikes his last time up.
Watch this play last night where he ended up having to make a backhanded play. It was hit very hard and on the ground, and that was a ground hugger. He ended up making the backhand, and he wasn't sure he had to when it started. But that was right there, a terrific play. Quick hands.
That's one of those plays where you say you can't teach that.
No.
You either have that ability or you don't.
I mean, and that's third base. Third base, you have to have soft, good hands. When you get to the ball, you've got to be able to catch it. You can knock pitch or down. You know, you can knock balls down and get up and throw people out. But he's used to playing short, catching everything. And he has very good hands, and that's where he's at right now, is at shortstop. With the shift to Gordon. But his last 50 games, he's played at third base, and you haven't heard boo for a guy that's really never been a third baseman before, have you? That's saying something about how he has played defense.
Almost chased after it, but he did not. Yeah, I don't think you can. I can't gush enough about how impressed I've been with his ability to play wherever Terry has asked him to play this year. Guy's not an outfielder. Go play left field. Okay.
And
he did it to the best of his ability.
He did a fine job. He was fooled a couple times early. After that, he did everything he could.
Well, what about his arm strength? Because a lot of people said they didn't think he had the arm strength to play third base.
Tell you what.
And you never. It took about 3 or 4 games at third. And he hasn't had a problem since.
He's as accurate as you can get. He's right there.
You could put one of those pitching machines over there and not hit the glove as many times as Ramirez has. That's how good he's been. Dan Otero. Same old Dan Otero. Book him, Dano.
Saturday, it's fan appreciation night as the Indians will take on the Chicago White Sox, and it'll be Dollar Dog Night. You can grab a 2017 schedule poster, and the fireworks will be following the game. Just go to Indians.com for the tickets.
Speaking of fan appreciation, and one of the things I just love about this sport of ours is that you can have an intense battle. Guys are focused, they're concentrating, but they're still aware of their surroundings. So in between innings while we were away, they showed J.R. Smith on the scoreboard to all the fans in attendance here, and he even had a little message for him up on the scoreboard, getting the crowd fired up. Well, Salvador Perez turned around from home plate, and he saw J.R. Smith sitting back there, and he was, you know, kind of waving to him and talking, and then Jason Kipnis came up, and they were both laughing. You would never see that in an NFL game, or maybe in an NBA game they would.
Maybe at a golf match. He wouldn't even be able to allowed to talk.
I just love it that he's here supporting the tribe,
taking in a ball game. Well, as the Indians did, when we get home and the Cavs are playing, what would they do?
Oh, yeah.
They spend an off day. Where'd they go? They'd go
over to watch the
absolutely.
Cavs, yeah.
Mutual interest.
3-1 pitch. I got to tell one more story, and I know you're privy to this too. So after the Cavs won it all, and JR was, I don't think he put a shirt on for a week after that. He was out of Lakewood, on the driving range. He still didn't have his shirt on, getting ready to play around. I mean, that was just hilarious.
He didn't need one that day.
Jason Kipnis homered in the first. And it get him on the hand or the bat. I think it got him on the hand. He's going to get first base. Maybe the wrist.
That's the second guy that
G
is hit. He's saying he's all right.
False alarm, guys. Let's see where it nicks him.
Oh, I see what happened. He came in to check his swing, got him on the left wrist there.
Yeah.
Right where he has it taped. There, he's going to take a peek at it. He's got the little sleeve that's going to pull it down now. I'll take a look at it when he gets in there. Let's hope he gets to home plate from scoring a run.
Well, here again, second inning in a row, the Indians get their leadoff man aboard via a hit by pitch. So opportunity there. Can they cash in? Lindor.
Just another Kansas City Cleveland matchup.
Yep, here we go again.
Getting into the middle part of the ball game and fighting for runs.
Outside, he missed ball one. Nice off-speed pitch. Drops in for a strike. Lindor back in the first. He walked, stole second, and then with 2 outs scored on the double by Santana. That made it 2-0. But the Royals quickly countered with a 2-run homer with 2 outs in the second inning. That's the way it's stayed ever since.
This would be a good time to try and hit and run right here. He's struggling. A lot of times managers will put the hit and run on, try and create a hole when one of your guys are struggling. But to be honest with you, Francisco's been swinging through so many pitches, he might be afraid to put it on.
Runner's not going, and the pitch is outside. 3-1. Mike Napoli waiting on deck. And that's ball 4. So he hit a batter. Now he's walked one. And once again, the Indians are set up. Now, Mike Napoli's not going to be bunting here. Last time he laid down a bunt, he might have been 5 years old. The bullpen, though, is going to get some action.
Looks like a left-hander.
Like a lefty. Peter Moylan, maybe.
Flynn. He came out and took the loss in game 1.
Moylan's right. I was thinking of Matt Strong. There's a ball popped up on the infield. That's not going to get it done.
Infield fly rule. He's out.
1 away. And we'll bring up Carlos Santana. Santana collected his 6th hit of the series with that first inning double, rounded out his last time up.
Well, that swing that he had on that pitch was beautiful. It came from the right side of the plate. Took it to right center field, stayed on it, used the big part of the field, and as many changeups and off-speed pitches as G's thrown. That wouldn't be a bad thought process here because they are giving him left center field.
Rope foul.
Remember, it went right off his toe. Took him a while to regroup, get back into the box, and then all of a sudden there it was. Elevated, hit it into right center field. That drove in the 2nd run of the inning. And actually, that was they've only have 1 hit since that point, and that was the crisp single.
Fly ball, right field. Orlando back. He's out of room. It's out of here. Carlos Santana breaks the tie with a 3-run homer. 83 runs batted in on the year, 4 of them coming here tonight.
Ties Mike Napoli for the lead in home runs. Man, there's a ball that stayed middle in, and it was belled high, and that one was not coming back. So a big 3-pointer here, and that breaks up the jam.
Santana riding a little 4-game hitting streak. He's 9 for 16. So he is really locked in at the plate right now. Ramirez rolls one to second. 2 away.
Watch it. I don't know if this is a cutter or a little slider. One of the two. And it stays right there, boy. Belled high, and that one didn't slide like he wanted it to. And that's hitting area there. So Santana continues to extend that home run career high, 34.
I really think too the Mike Napoli influence, presence has helped Carlos Santana.
Oh, no question.
And I think Santana has helped Mike Napoli, vice versa. Now they haven't always batted, you know, behind each other in a lineup. A lot of times Carlos has let off. I just think the way maybe they've sort of pushed each other, and you know, Mike said he goes, I told Carlos in spring training we're on both hit 30 this year.
I'll tell you what, Carlos has had a really solid year. And he's one of those guys you take for granted because he plays every day. And, you know, he may swing and miss it a lot. He may not drive in runs, but he gets on base. And he's had one heck of a year. He now has 82 RBIs, and he's got his 34 homers.
Inning over. Carlos Santana sends one deep into the night, and the Indians lead it 5-2. by Ford. Built Ford tough. By the injury lawyers at Elk & Elk, proud partner of the Cleveland Indians. Call 1-800-ELK, Ohio. And by Adventure, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram. Under the watchful eye of the Bob Feller statue here at Progressive Field, Dan Otero goes to work in the 7th with the Indians now up 5-2. ALCIDES, ESCOBAR, Paulo, Orlando, Chesler, Cuthbert, Dua. Otero worked a 1-2-3-6. He's a guy that at times has been able to work multiple innings, and he's at least out here to start the 7th. And I know they've got arms up and getting loose in the bullpen.
They look like they're pretty much just talking out there. Kansas City's bullpen, yeah, they're just out there talking. I think this is Otero's inning.
It's a lot of guys out there, Arch.
Yeah, no kidding. I got to do something there, but nobody is throwing right now.
Look at Michael Brantley out there chilling with the guys in the bullpen.
You're stealing the thunder. I've been saving that.
Sorry, my bad.
No, it's cool.
Got him.
It's okay, but talking about Dan Otero, and when Andrew Miller first came here, guys, all our talk was about how it was going to help the starters, right? But really, when you talk to Terry Francona and others, they think this has helped Dan Otero because it's changed his role a little bit. Because he's not one of those 3 guys that they use 7th, 8th, 9th inning. He's able to lengthen out for the bullpen, the starters. Then they haven't used him in almost a week. And Terry said, "Don't worry, he's going to get used over the next couple of days."
Right.
He's become almost what Ramirez was early in the year. He's a weapon that Tito says he can use anywhere, anytime, and he loves having it.
And boy, has he done a nice job for him this year. He's a ground ball master. Comes in tough situations, gets double plays.
In tight. Did you have something else to add to Brantley being out there in the bullpen, or were you just going to tell us that he was sitting in the bullpen tonight? He's gone radio side.
He's not talking to you.
It takes more than that.
There's a base hit through the right side by Paulo Orlando.
No, he's been out there for about a week, and Jason Beret loves having him out there. I think for Michael, now that he knows he's not going to play the rest of the season, he wants to be around all the guys the best way that he can. He says he's going to help. He listens. He sees the game differently out there, and he's having fun out there. Now, he told me not to tell his secrets just yet, but we were going to give him up anyway. I was working on doing something so we could talk about it during the game, but Brant likes being out there. He likes being around the pitchers. He likes hanging out with them, messing with them, and seeing the game from a different perspective.
Yeah, and I was going to say, that's the thing. Normally he'd never be out in the bullpen, but here's an opportunity to at least see what those guys do, what they go through.
Well, absolutely. Just give you a different outlook. Normally you're out in left field every day. You're playing, you're battling throughout the game. You got your hat up. You don't worry about it. Now you see what those bullpen guys go through. They don't have to worry till the game gets late. They talk a lot of smack. Plus, there might be more room out there than there is in the dugout.
Well, there's no doubt about that, is there? Especially since he's up there and not down in the little penned-in area where all the relief pitchers sit.
No, he's not down in there. He's up there. He's got his own chair. One that's open next to him. Now, Indians pitching has done a nice job in this series because Kansas City hitters 3 for 46 when the Indians pitchers get them to 2 strikes.
Out of play to the right. Yeah, Otero, you mentioned it. What an asset he's become for the bullpen this year. And we tend to focus, understandably so, on Miller, Shaw, Cody Allen in the back end of the bullpen. Dan Otero doesn't take a backseat to anybody.
No, he does not.
Pitched.
He's been great for him. As I said, an unsung hero.
Well, he got a piece of that, just barely, to stay alive.
He had to fight his way on this ball club right from spring training and has only gotten better ever since. And just, I mean, the movement, look at the sink.
And
just barely.
A lot of times when guys are sinker ball pitchers, if they don't pitch, they lose that. But he's gone 6 days and he's still.
Danny's been around a while. He knows.
Knows how to stay sharp.
He knows. No question. Look at that little slider.
Oh.
Good pitch. That's a tough one to take right there.
Surprised that one didn't get called.
I'll
I think
tell you
Dan
what,
is too.
this kid has had some pretty darn good at bats though in this series. He's laid off some very tough pitches. He's walked twice tonight. He's walked in this series. He's got a good eye for a young hitter.
Jammed him. Lindor went to a knee, and they still turn 2. Terrific play by Lindor and Jason Kipnis in the pivot. That'll end the inning. Stretch time in Cleveland. 5-2 drive. Out from under him.
Yeah, he loses his footing right there, the left foot, and then he slides. He still gets a good throw off to Kipnis, and Kip was able to hang in there and get the throw over there to Santana, who picks it and helps him out. That's unbelievable. Almost the wipeout, but he still made a quality throw to Kip.
Most of us, when our feet go out from under us, we end up flat on our face.
Look at that was, you know, you call that tired?
No.
You know, he may be tired. He may not be swinging the bat like he has all year, but you still make a play like that to get out of an inning in the 7th inning. That's what you want to see. And smiling coming off the field, doing it.
Yeah, a little bit outside. COCO Crisp draws a leadoff walk. T-Mobile, greater coverage of baseball. Gary Sanchez has truly revitalized the Yankees organization with how well he's played. I mean, they jettisoned most of their key veteran guys, called up the young dudes, and they probably feel like they're pretty well set up for going forward now.
Boy, you would think so. It turned them around. They brought themselves back into the playoff hunt. What are they, 2.5 back behind a number of teams? Yeah, they're the only team. They're looking for their 80th win.
Bunt. Nicely done this time. Roberto Perez gets his job done. Coco Crisp in the scoring position.
Now he got it down that way last night, but in his last at bat had the opportunity. You have to go to third base, and he couldn't do it because of the bat angle. So I think his comfort zone is bunting to the first base side. So he moves him up. Good job. That'll give Davis an opportunity along with Kipnis.
First base, that stays fair behind the bag, and Osmo will take it himself. 2 down as Coco Crisp moves to third. Ned Yost going to go to the bullpen, it would appear, with the left-handed hitting Jason Kipnis coming up next. We've got a timeout in Cleveland. Indians 5, Royals 2 here in the bottom of the 7th. Weird night for Dylan G. Twice he hit the leadoff batter. Walked 2, gave up 3 runs on the homer. Did not strike a batter out. And that was after you just said, you know, he came in and gave him a really nice performance.
Yeah, in the last outing in Chicago.
In
or the third, sure.
Yeah. Good pitch by Flynn, down and away. And Kipnis lays off 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, give Jason credit. He's come back. He's worked it full. Expanded the strike zone to end the inning. We'll go to the 8th. 5-2 Cleveland. The Cleveland Indians and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cleveland Indians. Left. Now they got their little broom out looking for the sweep here tonight. Indians closing in, but they still have 6 outs to record. Brian Shaw will be the 3rd pitcher of the night after Dan Otero worked 2 scoreless, striking out a pair. You know, Terry said it last night, Rick, and I'm not so sure that he's not dead on in his assessment. As you look at the outfield changes now, Michael Martinez in center. Davis goes from center over to left. Coco Crisp out of the ball game. I mean, hey, he knows his team better than anybody. But with Brian Shaw, 70 appearances now in the year. Cody Allen, he's closing in on 70. He's well over 60. Andrew Miller's logged, you know, a lot of appearances, a lot of innings, multiple innings. But Terry said, you know, these guys don't look like they're on fumes. If anything, it looks like they're getting stronger.
Well, I'll tell you what, they are feeding off each other. I know that. They are doing a terrific job. I gave you the numbers earlier. Coming into it before the night, they went 20 1/3 innings. They'd given up only 3 runs, and the 3 runs they gave up was a 3-run homer to Upton in the Detroit series. So they have been outstanding, and they're continuing it here again tonight. Otero just went 2 innings, gave up 1 hit, had a couple of strikeouts. You know, depending on the matchups, he uses them the way he sees fit. They may use him 2 days in a row or something like that, where he said, okay, Otero had his week. And as Andre said, oh, don't worry, he's going to get his work, and he will. You may see him pitch for the next 2 days. Well, somebody else gets some rest.
Breaking ball, try to get him to chase. It might be a good thing that he didn't, because as fast as he is, if that ball gets away, you're not going to throw him out at first. You'd like to think that every manager does a good job being conscientious of not putting his bullpen guys, his pitchers, in physical jeopardy by abusing them, warming a guy 3-4 times in a game and then not even getting him into the ball game.
Yeah, they can't do that. That'll wear them down before you know it.
But I don't know that anybody does it much better than Terry Francona, because he makes a pretty good effort that if he gets a guy up, puts him in the game.
There's some good ones out there that handle bullpens. You got Buck Showalter, you got Bruce Bochy with San Francisco. Those guys, I mean, I'm talking top-notch guys. Yeah. They know what they're doing, boy. That's how a lot of this game is run right now, is through the bullpen.
I think Ned Yost.
I was just going to say, we're looking at on the other side. Ned Yost has done a wonderful job with his bullpen over the years.
I mean, look, injuries. I don't think the human body was made to, pitch 75, 80 times a year in Major League Baseball. Some guys can do it, but not everybody can.
Well, you might be able to do it 1 year.
That's why it makes what Shaw's done really impressive is Santana can't scoop that one out for Lindor. Dyson is aboard to start the 8th for Kansas City.
Well, this is the one time you don't see Lindor throw on the run too often. And here he knows who's running, but he got rid of it because Dyson was running, and I think he had a little more time to set and throw than he thought right there. That'll go as an error.
I mean, you go 4 years in a row like Brian Shaw has done at 70 appearances per season. That's impressive. Now I know that the one thing Terry and Mickey Callaway have been very conscientious of is that you look at those appearances, but the innings are usually below the number of appearances.
Yes, they usually are. And they don't leave them out there for any length of time. It's a number of pitches. Even on a bad outing, it may be 25 pitches or not much more after that.
The 1-0. Good cutter. Outside edge. 1-1. I mean, I still remember the year, and I don't recall how many innings he logged, but when Bobby Thigpen saved 57 games, that was just hard to wrap your head around. It's like 57 games?
Yeah. Well, we'll get into that media guide. We'll delve into it, and we'll know how many innings that he has because they're in tomorrow.
Wow, those guys were on it quickly. They said Thigpen, out of the 57 saves, picked 77 games total, 88 innings total work that year. That's
a lot of appearances, boy. That's a horse.
Now Raleigh Fingers and Goose Gossage would scoff at that, but
that's
era,
before.
time.
That's before those guys would go to 6 outs, sometimes 9 outs, if need be.
Right? Isn't that the original save was 3 innings, right?
Yeah.
In the early days, I think when Raleigh first started, didn't you almost have to pitch 3 innings back then?
I don't know, but they'd go multiple, and you'd go up to 6 outs and get saves. But there were times that they'd get 100 innings coming out of the bullpen.
Oh yeah,
as closers.
I remember looking at Goose Gossage's number.
You'd have 100. Wow. Yeah, you'd have over 100 innings.
The 2-2. Well, the guy here in Kansas City was
Quisenberry?
Yeah, he was pretty good for
a long time. But he used to throw from down here.
Yeah, little sidearm.
But it doesn't matter. He still has sore arms.
Ground ball to first. Santana will flip it. Shaw beats him to the bag. Our great clip of the game from last night.
Boy, this was set up beautifully from the night before, where Gore came out and stole a base. And Perez was a little upset at himself because he didn't know who was covering. He says, I want one more chance at him and I'll get him. And boy, did he ever last night, with just a nice throw to second base, right on the money on a nice tag. And that was that changed the game right there, because they had just hit a home run, came back to within 1 run, and they walked the next hitter. So that would have been the tying run in scoring position if he steals the base.
And in that situation, everybody's got to do their job. Cody Allen was 1.22 or 1.21 on his delivery to Roberto Perez. Tito said afterwards, if he's even a tick off of that, you don't have a chance. Roberto doesn't have a chance to throw him out.
Well, Roberto threw it down to second base at 1.88. So it was it's you know, anything under 2 for it's under 3 seconds.
That's almost 3 seconds on the nose.
Right.
So you can't run from first to second that fast, can you?
Well, it was the first time that Gore was ever caught. He was what, 16 for 16 or 17 for 17?
Yeah. I don't know what the exact distance is once you've got that lead and then you take off.
Well, you got to be off there. It's got to be less than 80, about 80 feet. He's got to be off the bag by 10 feet.
Oh, he went up the ladder and chased the high heater. Shaw with a big strikeout, 2 down.
Boy, you don't see Hosmer swing at many pitches like that. Let's check the sequence. Good little slider for strike 1. Goes right back to it. Now he jumps ahead in the count. Tries to throw that pitch up and away for a ball. And he threw it a little closer that time, and Hosmer swung. So a nice sequence for Shaw. Now a chance to get out of the inning and leave the man stranded and pick up your defense.
Henry's Morales. You know, most left-handed hitters don't chase that pitch because they know they can't hit it. But he's one guy who we've seen he can hit it.
Yeah, he likes to extend the arms. He can. You know, and another thing, this bullpen, and I know Shaw wants to. He wants to pick up Lindor for making that error to start this inning, because all the great plays he makes behind them throughout the course of the years. If you're a pitcher, you certainly want to pick him up one time and make him feel bad where he doesn't feel bad for making an error.
Well, Shaw's one pitch away from doing just that. The Indians have held the Royals to just 3 for 23 in the series with a runner in scoring position, and 0 for 10 on the night. And the 1-2. Got him. Brian Shaw throws a big bucket of water on a potential blaze here in the 8th. And the Indians lead by 3. Up this weekend on Fox. These Kansas City Royals take on the Detroit Tigers. You'll see that game at 12:30 Eastern on Fox, or you can watch it live on Fox Sports Go. And we'll be on later that night with the Indians playing host to the Chicago White Sox. White Sox are in town, spending an off day here in Cleveland. And our series will get underway tomorrow night. Last 3 home games of the regular season. Up and away, ball 1. Lindor with a liner and a catch made by ALCIDES. Escobar snow-coned it. And that's the way it goes when you're in a slump.
Yeah, I mean, he can't hit a ball any harder than that. And then from our angle, I had a great view, and it looked like that ball was going to get by him. But boy, did he ever snag it right at the last minute. That ball was by him, and it's at the end of his glove. So one shortstop robs another.
Check, and that's a strike called by the home plate umpire Paul Emmel. Flynn misses outside. Cody Allen getting ready in the Cleveland pen now. 2-1 to Napoli. With the shift on, Merrifield was behind the bag. Easy play, 2 down. Well, as promised earlier, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. Carlos Santana's had a great series.
Boy, has he ever. 4 hits in 1 game, a big 3-run homer tonight. And for Santana, he tied Napoli with his 34th home run, and 14 homers for him have given Cleveland the lead this year, which is pretty impressive.
Low and away.
Didn't Andre say last night that his dad's in town, and he always plays well when his dad's in town? He's having a good series. Keep him in town. Move him here.
He's coming to Detroit, and then he's going to Kansas City with us too.
Beautiful.
Whether he wants to or not.
Yeah, that's right. Tony's got him. He's going to pack him no matter where.
He's moved into a tie with Joe Carter now. Two balls and a strike. Shoots it.
Look out.
Man, just past the Royals dugout.
That's the camera bait on the first base side. Chris, you all right? Look at, no wait. He can't hear us anymore. He's in a trance.
He's so focused. Down and in. Santana draws a walk. So he's aboard with 2 down, and Jose Ramirez will get one more at bat tonight. 0 for 3 so far. Not many 0-fers for Ramirez this year. Fouled off toward the Indians dugout.
Coming in to tonight hitting .348 in his home ballpark, although he is over 3 now, so he needs a hit here.
In the dirt. Center field. Dyson racing back, won't get it. Off the wall. Santana burning around third, they'll wave him home. Escobar with a strong arm, throw to the plate in time, and Santana is out to end the inning.
Pretty nice relay there.
Yeah, once Dyson made a good throw to Escobar, it was pretty much lights out. But the Indians still lead it by 3 as we go to the 9th.
Field Indians with a 5-2 lead. Cody Allen on looking for the save for the Tribe as we welcome you back here to the corner along with Jensen Lewis, Al Pulowski. Well, Mike Clevenger tonight, he got the start. Indians Live pregame. Jensen, you were talking about being economical with his pitches.
Be smart and be efficient for the 5 innings tonight, 15 pitches or less, but throwing changeups to righties.
That was
right
nice.
on right change.
Pretty nice.
He looked really solid tonight, and he had to work out of some big-time situations, too.
All right, more on Clev coming up on Indians Live after this one, brought to you by Conrad's Tire Express and Total Car Care. For the call of the 9th, back upstairs we go. Here are Matt and Rick.
All right, thanks, gentlemen. Here in the 9th, it will be Cody Allen. He's got 5, 6, and 7 in the order. Salvador Perez is 1 for 3 with a double, 4 for 11 in the series. Smash to Lindor, knocks it down, stays with it, throws it out.
Well, he hit this ball very hard, and that was a tough hop, and it stayed right around. Lindor did a beautiful job to keep it in the area. And you had the right guy running, but he bounces on it, picks it up quickly, makes the throw for the easy out. But it wasn't an easy out. That was a good play.
Alex Gordon swings and fouls it back out of play. Gordon 1 out of 3. He singled and scored ahead of the 2-run home run by Escobar in the second, but that has been it offensively tonight for the Royals. Indians pitching has been able to hold them in check. It's 1-2. Down and in, could not get him to chase. Broken back bouncer. Lindor. 2 down. Recapping the keys to the game brought to you by Mazda. Opportunity for Clevenger. He went 5, gave up the 2-run homer, but other than that, he pitched in and out of some trouble, and he did a nice job getting out of some potential sticky situations. And the Indians, they weren't able to take advantage of small ball, but when you hit it out of the ballpark, that
3-run home runs really help.
Washes away the sins, doesn't it?
Sure does.
2 down, and Alcides Escobar checks on the ball outside. Or is it down the line? Chisenhall makes the catch. That'll end the game. Cody Allen nails it down, and the Indians win it 5-2, completing the 3-game sweep. Their 52nd win here at home on the year. They just continue to roll here at Progressive Field. 15,253 we're here to watch tonight as the Indians go to 89-63, and the magic number is down to 4.
Yeah, they come back, and it was another close ball game until the Santana 3-run home run. I like Clevenger, what he did today. He went 5 innings, 4 hits. He allowed a 2-run homer, but really worked his changeup into the game. Love that. The bullpen continues to do the great job that they have done all homestand long, and what do you know, they win 3 in a row. They lower that magic number to 4, and boy, just keep playing the way they are. It's been fun to watch.
If you're Kansas City, you lament the fact you couldn't get the clutch hit in this series. If you're Cleveland, you say, boy, we did a great job of getting the big outs and kept them from scoring.
Right, that's true.
So the sweep is complete. Indians win it, and they'll welcome in the Chicago White Sox tomorrow night. We'll be back with a final thought right after this.